I started thinking about something. And I am reading a book right now. It's actually Jules' memoir about her life. And a few people know this, but not very many know that I've been obsessed with Jules since she kind of became famous. And she's the first CD that I ever bought. I just really love her. And her book came out a couple of years ago. I don't know why it's taken me this long to read it, but I'm reading it. And yesterday I came across a passage in there where she's talking about when she was in art school. She went to an art school for high school, and she was struggling with an eating disorder in that her childhood wasn't very good. She had a lot of dysfunction in her family growing up, and so she learned to use food as comfort, essentially. And she was struggling with this, and so she was looking into, I can't remember, back in the 80s or early 90s, looking for help for that. And she discovered that there's an organization called Overeaters Anonymous, and they didn't have a chapter anywhere near her, so she just started one in her school and ran it, and learned to deal with her compulsive eating that way. Of course, it's not something that you just deal with and get over. You deal with it for a long time, but I just was reading this and I was like, that's crazy. I would have never thought that about her. There were a lot of mean comments about Jewel when she first came out, about they called her a fat Renee Zellweger, really ugly things, but I never thought that she was big. And so I think that is a major pitfall that even I fall into, because you don't know what people are dealing with. Not very many people would guess that I also deal with compulsive eating. You wouldn't guess that, because I'm just a normal person, and I go to the grocery store and I check out there and I drive around town and I pick up my daughter from school and I come to the gym and I do normal looking things and act like a normal person, but in my mind I'm dealing with addictions, and it doesn't really matter what your addiction is. There's all kinds of things, but I think deep down a lot of us struggle with, we're just people that want to be happy. And what the society has taught us is that food, alcohol, sex, drugs, buying a lot of things will make us happy. And we get in this awful cycle when that doesn't work for us. And then we feel guilty and we try to hide this, and we think, we just look around at other people and we're like, well, they seem to be happy, and why am I not happy? And it's just this horrendous cycle where we're all just, struggling. I don't think that everyone deals with this, but I think a lot of people do, more than we would guess, because we keep it a secret. I did for a really long time. So I guess what I'm getting on here to say is that we never know what people are struggling with and dealing with. And so that being said, I think it's important for us to remember that we're here to build each other up and to encourage each other, and that ultimately, these material things are not what bring happiness. And so that's what we've been sold and trained and, commercialized to believe, but I'm working on retraining my brain. So, I still Domino's just knows that pizza is my thing, and so I am inundated with ads from Domino's all the time, and they're these really delicious looking pizzas, and so that comes across and I'm like, oh yeah, that would make my day better. But I know it won't. It might make it good for those few minutes, but long term, pizza is not going to make me feel better. Going to church, when my favorite song comes on the radio, just other things that happen that make me feel good during the day, and I'm paying attention to them and using those and trying to retrain my brain to focus on those things and not material things that don't work. And it's a process, and it takes a lot of time, and it's actually the same thing that Jules talking about in her book. She did a lot of that, mindfulness and brain retraining. to try and help herself get out of those cycles of addiction. So it's really cool to read, and it's like, I like that she put that out there and shared it with people, so we can know that she's not perfect and nobody is. So this is what I was thinking about today while I was working on this project, and I wanted to share with you guys and hopefully encourage anyone who feels like they're in that cycle that you can get out, and it will take work, but it will definitely be worth it.